Welcome back to War Thunder Vehicle News. This week, the event vehicles have finally seen combat, and we can take an assessment of actually how good ththese are. Sin 10AP is dropping hints, and Gaijin is doing stuff behind our back. Again. So hit that subscribe button. First off, let's talk about the event vehicles and how good they are. The VFW, I think, is probably going to be the most remembered vehicle of this event. Not only because it's German, but because of its crazy fast fire rate. If you have it maxed out, it is 4 seconds on what is essentially a long 88. It also benefits from having no armor, which is best armor in War Thunder. The shells commonly fly through it without doing any damage to the majority of the crew. However, people are starting to learn really all you have to do is shoot it in the chassis where the ammo is stored. Besides its lack of armor and fast fire rate, it's kind of a meh tank. It's a little slow, turret rotation isn't the best. It only has 3 degrees of depression. However, after the event ends, I could definitely see this thing's price raising quite a lot. The Merkava Mark I is much better than a lot of people have been giving it credit for. Historically, it was built to save the tankers' lives, and in game it seems to do that quite well, so long as it's not against APFSDS, which slices through the tank like it's nothing. All the armor is spaced armor. There's no special composite or anything like that, unless you count the engine and transmission that are sandwiched between 2 armor blocks. And at 8.7, you'll see a mix of the two. A lot of early Cold War Russian tanks still firing APHE and the like. However, you'll also run into a whole lot of APFSDS that is around there at 8.7. And if you get up tiered, it's basically all that you'll see. But besides the armor, the maneuverability of the tank is great as well, which perhaps could be its saving grace when it does get up tiered. Generally, it's not some super amazing, awesome tank like the 8.7 premiums that you can buy, but it's another 8.7 to take out in a US lineup, and it's not awful, it's not bad, it's really just an alright vehicle. As for its value after the event, I could see it going up purely on the fact that it is rank 6 and people want the rank 6 thing because it's rare or whatever. I don't care much for the I-180S. A little disclosure, I don't actually have it because Gaijin only gave me 3 of the event vehicles, and I only completed 1 IA-180S and I got the Panzer Toaster for that. So I can assess from the test flight and some other YouTubers who did fly it out in combat, it's a alright plane. Its guns are pretty good. Its turn rates aren't the best for its battle rating, but they'll do. I did, however, take out the JU-388J into battle, and its guns don't shoot straight. They're angled downward a little bit, so your reticle's pointing downward, which is really awkward to fly with. But it didn't entirely destroy the plane. I actually did pretty well with it. It's possible because there were just a bunch of freedom boos trying to ground pound. But the guns, the 2 MK-108s and MG-151s, destroy stuff really well. However, I don't know if the plane's like worth what Gaijin's asking you to put in to get it. As I said in prior videos, its armament isn't any different than, say, the Ta-154, or it's actually worse than the HE-219, and it has the same battle rating as the 154. The only upside is rank 4, not rank 3. Like, seriously, if you want this thing, just get the HE-219. It has better guns, it's useful in tank battles as well, also has radar, just no tail gunner, but I wouldn't put much stock into 13mm really, so that's not too much of a bonus. The Project 122 BIS is also not a vehicle that I actually own, but taken out through the test drive, I can get a bit of an assessment that it's alright. It only has 1 main cannon, I thought it had 2, and that main cannon placed on the front of the ship has like no depression, which makes it a little awkward when you're trying to hit something that's close by in front of you. Although I guess you could try to use those anti-submarine bombs to hit what your gun cannot. You could also jump to the secondaries to destroy stuff. It has quite the anti-air armament with 2 37s and God knows how many 50 cals. The vessel I was really looking forward to was the HMS Tiger. Its main guns are very destructive and have much higher fire rate than just about any other light cruiser, giving you the ability to quickly correct your shots or change over to AP rounds if you need to start penetrating. And the 6 76mm anti-aircraft cannons are very destructive with their proximity fused shells, although the test drive will give you a bit of a misimpression that they'll shoot down anything in an 8-kilometer range. However, they will keep you protected if there's a single aircraft. If there's multiple, they'll decide to shoot at the one that is further away, because yeah, Overall, the event vehicles are kind of disappointing. The only ones that really stand out are the HMS Tiger and the Panzer Toaster. The rest are meh. There's not even like one that's comedically bad. I guess if you're a new player, a free I-180S could help you grind the Soviet tree. Same with the Project 122 BIS. Because of the lackluster nature of the event vehicles, you'd expect the event to be not something so grueling, but it quite is. To just get the Panzer Toaster, it took me the better part of a day and a half. And to get the rest of the vehicles, you'd have to complete the task of fixing the I-180S 9 times. So it took me a day and a half. I can't do that in 10 days. The worst is the stuff that Gaijin did not intend, is quite a lot of people have run into various bugs with the event. Personally, I haven't experienced any of these, but I've been hearing reports that people's entire list of items have gone missing. Others saying when they finally complete fixing the I-180S, the voucher they get for it, they can't trade for whatever reason. To top it all off, the VFW has a lot of bugs. For some weird reason, the shell seems to fire from above where the gun sight is looking. And don't even get me started on whatever is happening with the tank diagram. In fact, my little tank diagram in the corner doesn't match up to ones I've seen in YouTube videos. My final point I have on the event going on is Gaijin had released a tutorial of their own on how to complete the event. And it's a little late, Gaijin. The event's just about half over, and now you're explaining, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Next time, release a video on how to complete the new type of event a few days before the event launches. Kind of related to events, but not really. For some people, apparently not others, the Crest Squadron vehicle had appeared in the British tree and the premium area. I personally get the impression that it didn't show up for everyone, and it did for others, but when logging out and logging back in again, it was removed. However, for me, it's still there, and I decided to take it out on a test drive. And it's not actually that great of a vehicle, unfortunately. Its main claim to fame is that at a very low battle rating, it has M3 50 caliber machine guns. However, it only has 600 rounds of ammunition, and it burns for that really fast. But also, the guns are spaced out pretty far on the wings, so you have to either be rather far from the enemy that you're shooting at for their guns to converge at a single point, or you have to angle a little bit to the side, and you only have one M3 doing any damage at that point. The other performance of the plane isn't so great. It overheats really easily, and then once it's overheated, you can't just turn it off web. You have to turn it down from 100 to like 80 for the engine to start cooling. Its climb rate isn't that great, the turn times aren't amazing, and the roll speed's okay. Overall, it doesn't look like that great of a plane. You would hope that the armaments would save it, but it's some pretty standard fighter armaments with a torpedo. Generally, it doesn't look like something that I would want to grind for. There is a possibility this isn't the final flight model and just a placeholder. However, in its current state, it is very bad. In a Japanese helicopter thread on the official forums, Sim10AP made a post essentially defending Gaijin's treatment of the Japanese tree. He ended his rebuttal with saying, "The AH-1S you mentioned is only one machine. We are still working on expanding helicopters for everyone, but we won't make any official statements about upcoming trees or any additions until they are ready." And then finally, Japanese fans will have much to look forward to soon, TM. Now, this could be 3 things. 1, Japanese helicopters soon. It's more just alluding to the Japanese Navy coming. And 3, it's actually nothing, and guys are just trying to chill out some players that are upset. Personally, I think it's most likely just referring to the Japanese Navy, as we've had a lot of hints that that's coming in the next patch. But if it is relating to helicopters for Japan that we might see soon, perhaps maybe the next patch is going to be some awesome Japan patch where we get Japanese helicopters and Japanese Navy. What kind of helicopters would we see Japan getting? Luckily, on the forum, some people have already answered that for me. Their first helicopter would likely be the Kawasaki H-13H Skylark, which is a Japanese-built American design. However, at times it was armed with ATM-1 anti-tank missiles, which you probably know by the name of Type 64 anti-tank missiles, which are probably the worst ATGMs in game. And these being on a helicopter going really slow with a really short distance might not be the best helicopter out there, but could be a nice excuse to have a helicopter lower than most other helicopters. Though I'm pretty sure Gaijin would be like, helicopter ATGM needs to be 9.0. Further up, we'd probably see a Fuji UH-1B, which was indeed armed with rocket pods like we see in the US tree, but historically it never had any ATGMs. However, neither did the German Huey ever have ATGMs armed on it. So if they're willing to take creative liberties with the German one, why not the Japanese one? I don't entirely like it, but we're already breaking the rules, so we might as well just destroy them completely. The OH-1 Ninja is a possible candidate. However, despite being fully designed and developed in Japan, it was only ever armed with air-to-air missiles. There was an attacked variant thought up, but there's not much information on whether that was ever built or not. As I said with the Huey, it's possible Gaijin will take some creative liberties, but that would be even more of a stretch. Something a bit odd that we may see in the tree is the SH-60, which at first glance looks like any other helicopter. However, this one was intended for anti-submarine warfare and search and rescue missions, leading to not exactly having armaments like other helicopters we've seen in game, armed with torpedoes and depth charges, but also could carry two AGM-11-4M Hellfire 2 missiles. Now, there currently are Hellfire missiles in game, however, they're a very early variant of them, and these don't seem like a very early variant, although Gaijin could once again take some creative liberties and make them those earlier variants. There's also the much more likely candidates of the AH-1S Step 2 and Step 3, which are essentially AH-1Es but Japanese, and the Step 3 can carry TOW 2 missiles, while the Step 1 can only carry TOW 1s. And perhaps what will end tree is the AH-64D Apache Longbow, although perhaps this thing is also too advanced for War Thunder, carrying only Hellfires, and also was armed with 4 AIM-92 Stinger missiles. However, I, an intellectual, feel that the Kayaba K-1 is a much more likely candidate to top off the helicopter tree of Japan. In other news of East Asian aircraft, on the Chinese plant, a J-6A, which is essentially a Chinese MiG-19, was discovered in the files, sprouting 4 55mm rocket pods and 4 air-to-air R-3S missiles. However, it means very little to us as the Chinese clan is its own beast in many ways, at least for now. In the changelog, it was stated that the shot Caldelet's main round was changed from M111 to its Heat FS round, and the M111 round now costs 400 silver lions. However, later on, Gaijin decided to change that to make it cost 820 silver lions. Quick update, I went onto the game to check it for myself, not just use someone's Reddit picture, and it is indeed only 400. However, for some odd reason, on the Merkava tank that Gaijin lent me, it's 820. Without telling anyone. These changes are obviously because of the new Merkava tank coming that uses the same ammunition, but that's not the only thing that Gaijin has been doing behind our back. Pilot damage is actually back now, and it wasn't brought up anywhere in the changelog. If you wonder what I mean by pilot damage is if your pilot is injured in any way, it reduces the performance of your plane. You will no longer be able to roll or turn nearly as well. There was quite an uproar about this mechanic in the Reddit and other places, and after much turmoil, Gaijin decided to remove it. People were very excited about that, but it seems Gaijin has decided to take that back and not tell anyone. That's all the news for this week. If any of you comments are concerned, you can hit me down below or on my Discord. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, don't hit the like button. I make these news videos every Sunday. This one's unfortunately a little bit late because Gaijin decided to drop some event vehicles on me, and I had to rearrange things in my script. I stream every Saturday on YouTube. I want to start streaming on Twitch on Thursdays, and I make some other random videos throughout the week, whatever I feel at the moment. So hit that bell icon to be notified anytime I upload anything. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. Have a good day. As for bonus news this week, Doomboy wants to convince you all that this image is an upcoming Leclerc 2 to be added to the game. It's not. It's his own personal creation. Also, this is very old, but there is a hidden setting called airdrop, and when pressed says no cargo. Some people are suspecting this has to do with dropping paratroopers or something. Wonder what it'll be for.